he has to struggle to be seen as normal. When we come back, what all the fuss is about, at least to the 8-year-old set in this country.
Bring all your skill.
Be forewarned if you haven't been already, the hottest thing in the 12 and under set is coming soon to a theater near you. Pokémon the movie joins Pokémon the video game and Pokémon the trading card as must-sees and must-haves. To start us off tonight, NBC News correspondent Colleen Dominguez on the craze that has now hit Hollywood.
So what exactly is a Pokémon? Cute, cuddly characters who become supercharged so they can fight their enemies. When it comes to the biggest Pokémon craze, it has to be the trading cards. This 747 arrived today from Tokyo, packed with the latest collectible cards.
February 27, 1996, Pocket Monsters Red and Green released in Japan for the Nintendo Game Boy. 3 years later, those two games would become available to the rest of the world as Pokémon Red and Blue. 25 years and an estimated $100 billion in series revenue later, Pokémon has become the highest grossing media franchise on the planet, well eclipsing juggernaut properties like Star Wars and even Mickey Mouse. Countless animated series, licensed merchandise, and box office hits have all contributed to Pokémon becoming a global brand recognized by nearly everyone on the planet. Whether a little kid or a worker in their 30s, you can show them a picture of a yellow mouse thing and they can tell you its name. And it's all came from a fairly simple RPG title that was just pixels on a dim Game Boy screen back in 1996. Around the week this video goes up, it'll be February 27th, 2021. The series is turning 25 and celebration is definitely to be had. But with all the monumental success the franchise has had over the last 2.5 decades, I can't help but to reflect on how it has affected the video game series, the place it all started. From that little green screen in 1996 to now, what has 25 years done to Pokemon? The first thing to address would be how Pokemon even neared this level of success in the first place, and the only response I have for that is PokéMania. See, while it's been 25 years since Pokemon was gifted to Japan, it's only been about 23 since it was gifted to the entire world. Like most titles, Pocket Monsters was given some time to see its international potential, and when it sold over 1 million copies in the first year alone, Nintendo knew they had something to work with on their hands. It was the beginning of one of the fastest success stories in gaming history. Pokémon Red and Blue reached the States on September 28, 1998, and while it was buzzing, selling over 200,000 copies in its first 2 weeks alone, it had some help to boost its hype from the jump. 20 days prior, on September 8th, Indigo League, the first season of the Pokemon anime series, aired for the first time in the US. The series was a big hit, and when the games came out, it did so seemingly accompanying the anime. Partner that momentum with a trading card game arriving for the holiday season, and there couldn't be any more of a perfect storm for Western consumers. After the first animated film arrived in theaters in late 1999, the franchise never looked back. But I can go on and on how the anime or the TCG or any of the brand's many other ventures have generated a disgusting amount of revenue and relevance to keep the franchise on top of the world for almost 30 years. This is a channel where I rant incoherently about video games. And with the background covered, I'd like to introduce the real topic of this video, the Pokémon Formula. While Nintendo and the Pokemon Company as a conglomerate had already cemented multiple streams of revenue for the series that have been ever flowing, Game Freak had to absorb all the pressure of the phenomenon their series had become to develop sequel titles that kept the train rolling smoothly. And that's where I believe what I like to call the Pokemon Formula was born. In 1996, it was a fresh and new format for a JRPG, and looking back, it was really ingenious and insightful way to get little kids to grasp the world of Pokemon through that tiny screen. There are 3 factors that are the basis of the formula. First being the game itself. You're a coming-of-age trainer, and after getting a basic understanding of what a Pokemon is, you get to choose one of 3 to start your journey. The grass type, the fire type, and the water type. And that's how you will be introduced to the type system within the game. Then you go through 8 gym trainers, the Victory Road, the Elite Four, and the Champion. You catch as many Pokemon as you can, and you hunt for the powerful ones teased throughout. Second are the Pokemon. In the first games, there were 151 monsters to catch, some of which have since become some of the most recognizable characters in video game history. Third is the marketing strategy. Anyone familiar with the series knows that every new installment releases in 2 versions, even 3 nowadays, with the reasoning behind it being that some Pokemon were exclusive to one version, and ready to catch them all, you had to trade with some friends if you wanted it. Not only did releasing practically 2 games increase revenue made with each new title, but it made kids in the late 90s and early 2000s extremely social about the series, with thousands of people who can recall schoolyard memories of trading for that one Pokemon. At the turn of the century, with the formula established and the hype still at large, all Game Freak could do was the same, and all they had to do was come up with 100 more monsters and 2 new types to keep everything interesting. So by 2000, there were 251 Pokemon. As of the making of this video, there are 898 Pokemon, and yet very little else has changed about the series. This is where my concerns about the Pokemon franchise lie. Although there are plenty of spin-off titles and even spin-off series, the mainline titles have done little to really mix it up since it began. Of course, after reflecting on the massive success the series has been from the jump, the easy point of view would be saying, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And while I understand that mindset, and while there are many other franchises that just rehash the same idea for years, it's becoming more and more receptive with each new Pokemon installment. And what makes it more interesting to me is that the Pokemon Company has been somewhat self-aware of this for years now, as each new title is considered a new generation of the series. Red and Blue were Generation 1, and so on and so forth, until the present day where we're currently in the 8th generation. This really shows how Game Freak and Nintendo approach Pokemon to the consumers, whereas series like Zelda always have very unique and different titles that all revolve around the concept of the Triforce of Power, the Triforce of Wisdom, and the Triforce of Courage. Pokemon knows how they were born into phenomena and want to have a new interpretation of that same moment in time they found back in 1998, for the new batch of little kids being introduced to the series every couple years. But when you're a reoccurring fan of the series, nothing that you see in a new game in the main line feels new. When you go from this, to this, to this, to this, it doesn't feel new. And if reskinning the same format sounds like it gets tiring, then just try releasing the same titles every 7 or so years. Then it gets very tiring. But at least the games themselves found ways to improve over these 25 years, right? The first Pokemon game isn't difficult to play. Once you get an understanding of the type systems, the game is very linear. Of course, if you're of an age that is likely Game Freak's target audience at this point, then playing Red and Blue may be a bit tough. But this is because a lot of the difficulty that came in the Pokemon series, especially early on, were from bad random number generated luck and the tedious extra steps that were implemented to string the base game longer than it really was. Having to use HMs, needing a specific Pokemon, or finding another way around an inconveniently blocked path. But over the years, these instances have become less and less. One big change has been that HMs don't even exist in most recent titles, and longtime fans of the series have said that the newest titles feel easier year after year. A sentiment I can relate to. Now, removing some of these things 100% makes playing the game less annoying. But trainer battles throughout the stories felt much more challenging in the earlier games. The lack of innovation can be reflected within the community online as well. If you're an active fan in the Pokemon community on YouTube during the time Pokemon Go achieved world domination, which has already been like 5 years ago, like, can you believe that? Then you may have seen how lively the channels of the biggest creators were. But now, many of the creators I most fondly remember from that period have lost almost all of their momentum on the platform, and while trends will always be a factor, I've always felt like the games were a factor to blame as well. Games like GTA 5 feel timeless, and people right now are streaming on Twitch as we speak playing nearly a decade-old game because it offers so much replay value and content. for a very different game like Pokemon, where the gist of the franchise has been the same for the last 25 years, content creators have to take it among themselves to have a flow of enjoyable content on their channel for years. Challenges like Nuzlocke and Sleeplocks have made up a majority of PokeTubers' channels, because truthfully, how long can you play the same game before it's uninteresting? And I understand that happening for trend games like Among Us or Fall Guys, but Pokemon is one of the most important IPs in gaming history. A bold take is overdue in the main line of the series. So having all of those feelings out there, why hasn't Nintendo or Game Freak taken on that challenge? Like I discussed on my video on the current state of sports titles, if a developer has no real reason other than moralities to bring drastic change to a product, it will never come. Pokemon Sword and Shield have been heavily criticized from day one, and since I've become a fan of the series, it's arguably the worst reception I've seen towards a mainline title. And instead of crashing and burning or flopping compared to other titles, you know what happened? They still charted in the top 50 best-selling games ever. The titles are clearly aimed for a group of people, specifically small children. So if fans outside that demographic are tired and growing more and more aware of the repetition that's been occurring over the decades, it really isn't the devs' problems. In their eyes, there are plenty of spin-offs and other media that the fans could take interest in instead. They're going to make massive bank every single year regardless. Game Freak can release a title today that was just a gimmicky remake of Red and Blue for the 5th time, and it will sell more than entire established franchises, no matter what the fan reception is. And while that seems awfully unfair and tone-deaf by the company, money is the priority over everything for every game business, every business in general. Combine the stubbornness of Nintendo with the perfection of the Poke process, and it's arguably the most unwilling to differentiate series in gaming history. The Pokémon formula will never ever change. It's truly the perfect storm. $100 billion, the world's largest multimedia franchise. What worked 25 years ago has shown no signs in slowing down. And if that's the trend, the next 25 years could be just as identical. Now, I know this was a pretty negative video, and I didn't really want it to be like that, but it was a topic I had on the list already, and I was ready to rant about it, and seeing that the series anniversary was right at this time, I had to take up on the opportunity. That being said, because it's the series' silver year, I have to bring some positives into this script. I love Pokemon. I love this franchise a lot. I haven't been a fan for a very, very long time, and I was too young to even be around for PokéMania like many others on this platform were. However, I understand how great Pokemon is. I was hesitant about the series as a little kid and managed to hold off all the way until 2014 when I picked up Omega Ruby along with the original iterations of Generation 3. It's one of my favorite games ever. I've poured hours into most recent titles, and periods of my life can be accredited to my infatuation with catching them all, which is why I wanted to voice my concerns about it. As I'm getting older, the enjoyment just isn't as potent, and while part of that is because I've gone from a little kid with imagination to a miserable young adult with responsibilities, the other part comes from the fact that I know how much untapped potential a franchise so achieved as Pokemon has. Hopefully one day someone in the dev rooms will see that too. And maybe someday we'll see a title that flips the series upside down. But until then, all I can say is happy 25th birthday, Pokemon, and thanks for all that you've done for gaming. Can't wait to see what comes of this year's celebration, and thank you for watching. This is like an edit rant real quick. Like while I was editing this video, I seen they Pokemon's Twitter account posted like a "Let's Go Sinnoh" like caption for their countdown for the 25th anniversary. So everyone freaked out. I think it was just coincidental, but the wording was definitely intentional. So we're definitely getting Diamond and Pearl remakes. That's probably going to be like the big thing this year. I just hope it comes out well. Like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was really a cash grab, so I want to see what a real remake looks like on the Switch. So I can't wait for that. But if you liked the video, if you got this far, big shout out to you. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to like improve with the quality and like the cadence and all of that with every new video. So yeah, support the channel. It means a lot. We're super small. It's only been like a month I've been trying to do this for real. So yeah, and leave a comment. Let me know for this video. Let me know what's your favorite Pokemon in the comments. Mine is Breloom. It's really random, but that's just my love for Generation 3. I want to know yours. So yeah, that's it for today, and happy birthday, Pokemon, and peace.
Not really. In fact, I gotta tell you, I get this episode today, Pokemon Friends.